Her name is Frances Haugen. That is a fact that Facebook has been anxious to know since last month, when an anonymous former employee filed complaints with federal law enforcement. The complaints say Facebook's own research shows that it amplifies hate, misinformation, and political unrest, but the company hides what it knows. One complaint alleges that Facebook's Instagram harms teenage girls. What makes Haugen's complaints unprecedented is the trove of private Facebook research she took when she quit in May. The documents appeared first last month in the Wall Street Journal, but tonight, Frances Haugen is revealing her identity to explain why she became the Facebook whistleblower.
We gotta talk about this, man.
The story will continue in a moment.
Good morning, good morning. We are going to have this conversation, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to have this conversation. Check this out. Can you imagine if you work for a big time company and you copy tens of thousands of documents and then you expose it to the world? They would probably bury you under the jail. They would bury you under the jail. I want to see how she went about doing this and how she was allowed to get away with this, because I'm kind of like, I'm baffled right now. On top of the fact that when Facebook went down and those other social media sites went down, the reaction, the outcry, the outrage, the panic that a lot of people had. What happens if social media gets shut down? Will you be able to be the same person that you was living out online? Will you be living your best life? Because I noticed that for a lot of people, social media is their it factor. Like somebody was talking yesterday on YouTube, and they were talking about, you know what I'm saying, I wouldn't know what to do with myself if social media went down. And I think a lot of people panicked yesterday. We saw a lot of people panic that don't really have real lives, don't really have that connectability in real life, don't really have that support system, that validation, that affirmation factor in real life. And I think that if social media went down, there would be a lot of super depressed people. There would be a lot of super depressed people. Matter of fact, not only to mention depressed people, but people that actually rely on everything social media for their livelihood in reference to their finances. I mean, I sat back and I was looking at it and I said, you know what, this is real interesting, because I'm like, you know, there's a lot of people distraught about the situation. I don't know. Me personally, I'm just like, okay, she went on 60 Minutes and I'm just kind of like looking at the situation. I'm like, well, how was she able to get away with this? How was she able to expose? Now, granted, there's been a lot of outrage. There's been a lot of conversation about, you know, what social media does, the mass media, and what they're trying to promote in reference to the gay agenda, in reference to, you know, promoting, you know, black on black crime and promoting this and promoting that. And now we see somebody from the inside that wasn't the janitor, that, you know, that wasn't, you know, just hired. There was someone on the inside that was higher up that said, you know what, this has to stop. How do you guys feel about that? How do you feel about that? Because I know there was a lot of this. It was like, okay, this, you know, when a white woman speaks, then, you know, I heard a lot of conversation about, you know, of course we pull everything to be racist. We pull everything to be racist. So there was like, well, when a white person speaks, then now people want to do something about it or whatever. Do y'all think it's because it was a white person, or do you think it would have got the same push and acknowledgement if it was a black person? Rodney says she's a white woman with privilege. Check her background. Well, we know she went to Harvard. She has a master's degree. She works for Pinterest, and she also worked with Facebook. And she said, hey, Facebook was the worst. Does that scare you? Does that concern you, that the site that your child is on, the site that your child goes live on, the site that your child spends a lot of time in posting their photos, that this organization is promoting hate speech? This organization is pushing a narrative, whether it's against black people or against minorities, but just showcasing that we're going to validate you and push your message out if you're promoting hate speech. That to me goes all the way to YouTube. Think about how much hate speech we hear on YouTube. and how those things go viral, how they get thousands and thousands of views. But if you say something positive or you say something trying to put people together, for some reason you kind of be like, well, are you shadow banned? Let's listen to some more of this.
Press against hate, violence, and misinformation. One study she found from this year says, we estimate that we may action as little as 3 to 5% of hate and about 0.6% of violence and incitement on Facebook, despite being the best in the world at it. To quote from another one of the documents you brought out, we have evidence from a variety of sources that hate speech, divisive political speech, and misinformation on Facebook and the family of apps are affecting societies around the world.
When we live in an information...
Do you guys believe that? Behind the Bar, salute, man. I think Maine did some coverage on this too. Salute to Behind the Bar or whatever. You know, I got kind of a glimpse of a lot of content creators, you know, talking about the situation. But I really wanted to talk to you guys and find out, do you feel like social media is ruining people? Do you feel like social media is promoting a message where we as the urban community or black people or minorities or Caucasians, do you feel like this is what's driving the hatred? This is what's promoting the racism? Or do you think that if social media goes away, that a lot of the negativity and the nonsense will go away? I truly believe that, you know what I'm saying, social media is definitely a keen vessel to promote a lot of stuff. And just to find out from somebody from the inside that, yeah, this is exactly what they're doing. Do you now talk to your kids about, hey, listen, you need to watch yourself on social media? Do you talk to your friends? Do you talk to your family? Do you watch how you interact? Does this make you say, well, I'm not going to go over there to that channel. I'm not going to listen to that because I know that, you know what I'm saying, this is something that we shouldn't be listening to? Or is it business as usual? For a lot of people, it's business as usual. For a lot of people, this is business as usual. They don't care if social media is promoting hate speech. They still going to watch it. They're still going to applaud it. They're still going to appreciate it. Is what this lady done in vain? Was there a need for it? Was there a need for it? Or do you believe that, you know what I'm saying, based on her status, based on her black background, based on who she is, hey, yeah, now we need to stand up and pay attention? Because I'm listening to this interview and I was scratching my head because I said, you know what, it's so interesting that there are a lot of people that clearly showed, because they was like, oh wait, we can't go to Instagram, we can't go to Facebook. Okay, we'll go to YouTube and we'll go live about it and we'll talk about the situation. But to me, honestly, they didn't care the reason why it was shut down. They didn't care about the interview. It was more or less like, we just want to be on it. We want to be a part. We want to be connected. So how many people feel like, regardless of what is said and regardless of what the tool or the vessel is being used for, people are still going to go to it? Whether it's negative or not, they're still going to pay their money. They're still going to promote it. They're still going to go to it. How many people feel like, hey, it's a lose-lose situation? Let's listen.
environment that is full of angry, hateful, polarizing content. It erodes our civic trust. It erodes our faith in each other. It erodes our ability to want to care for each other. The version of Facebook that exists today is tearing our societies apart and causing ethnic violence around the world.
Ethnic violence.
Ethnic violence, including Myanmar in 2018.
It was Deep Joel.
When the military used Facebook to launch a genocide.
The first quarter of 2019.
Frances Haugen told us she was recruited by Facebook in 2019. She says she agreed to take the job only if she could work against misinformation because she had lost a friend to online conspiracy theories.
Wow.
I never wanted anyone to feel the pain that I had felt. And I had seen how high the stakes were in terms of making sure there was...
Can I say something right quick? I'm about to piss somebody off. I swear I'm about to piss somebody off. Listen, doesn't it seem like women are leading the way when it comes to doing like the big things? Like, you notice how many guys work at Facebook? How many guys work at YouTube? How many men work in these specific areas, and none of them have come out and exposed none of this. Why does it take a woman to do it? When we talk about exposing Brother Polite and exposing R. Kelly, all women led. Y'all don't sit back and be like, damn, it's a lot of women kind of leading the way when it comes to saying, oh, this is wrong and this is right, etc., etc. I wonder why we don't have men that are vocal and speaking up like that. I mean, just out of curiosity, it's just like, okay, well, hey, you got to have some kahunas. You got to be a bad, Frances must be a part of the Black Panthers. She must know somebody who knows somebody, because my thought process is to say I'm going to come out against this major organization. Bruh, come on now. How many of y'all would have did that? Or how many of y'all would have turned the other cheek? We do a great job at turning the other cheek when we see something wrong, at holding people and organizations accountable. Rodney says, so basically what you're saying is that we're going to have a female Martin Luther King type. No, Rodney, I'm saying that, isn't it interesting that a lot of these movements to hold people accountable are by women? They're by women. A lot of them that are making noise and actually getting some traction and moving the goalpost forward are by women. If you sit back and you look at it, R. Kelly, women. Brother Polite, for those that know him, women. Facebook, women. Bill Cosby, women. I mean, the goalpost is being moved. And my question is, where are the men that consider themselves to be leaders? Where are they at, and where is their voice? Because I'm sitting back, I'm like, okay, well, this Francis interview has went viral. It's went viral, and the thought process is, how many men, because the thought now it's like, well, if you work at Facebook, you don't know this is happening? Why didn't you say anything? How many of y'all know people that work inside these organizations right now, but have never said anything to the extent that this lady is saying? Zero accountability. You know what's going on, you've turned the other cheek, and you've done nothing to fix it. Zero accountability. Something to think about.
High quality information on Facebook.
At headquarters, she was assigned to civic integrity, which worked on risks to elections, including misinformation. But after this past election, there was a turning point.
They told us, we're dissolving civic integrity. Like, they basically said, oh, good, we made it through the election. There wasn't riots. We can get rid of civic integrity now. Fast forward a couple months, we got the insurrection. And when they got rid of civic integrity, it was the moment where I was like, I don't trust that they're willing to actually invest what needs to be invested to keep Facebook from being dangerous.
Facebook says the work of civic integrity was distributed to other units.
In 2018,
Haugen told us the root of Facebook's problem is in a change that it made in 2018 to its algorithms. The program.
Before we get to the algorithm and all that good stuff, the thing that is most impressive to me, regardless of if she was a woman or not, regardless of her color, the fact that, you know what I'm saying, because somebody said, why now? And my question would be, why not? When you reach your boiling point, when you've seen enough, when you said, you know what, I'm gonna try to fix this at my level, but obviously I need to make some noise. I need to go kicking in some doors. I need to break some glass. I need to make a ruckus. I think a lot of people are scared to make a ruckus, are scared to say, I'm holding you accountable. You got to think about, is what Francis is doing going to help your children? Going to help someone from not being cyberbullied? Going to help the next political race? Going to help, you know what I'm saying, alleviate a lot of the hate speech? Now that we know that Facebook has been put on notice, is that going to say, well, hey, if you're going to do something, you better sneak and do it, because if you do it out loud, it's going to be a problem? Roddy said the question should be, now what? What's the next step? What is the next step? I truly believe that if This woman, I can almost guarantee you, do not come from any type of hood, do not come from any type of urban community based on her background. Based on her background. Now, my thought process is promoting hate speech. I want y'all to think about that. Hate speech affects a lot of minorities, does it not? Let's get deeper into this. Let's go into this. Hate speech affects a lot of the minorities, correct? We're going to promote all the negativity that comes out of the hood. We're going to promote, we're going to promote black people ain't acting right. Spanish people ain't doing this and this and this and this and this and this and this. So this lady says, hey, you know what? Hey, enough's enough. We need to kill this. We need to do better than this. She's holding them accountable. And I want to know right now, how many other people sit and turn a blind eye when it's time to hold people accountable? I'm telling you right now, from celebrities to YouTube stars to politicians, we do a poor job as a society holding people accountable. And here it is for someone, because we like to say, it's the blacks against the Spanish people. It's the Spanish people against the white people. It's this, and we love to pit each other against one another. But is Francis doing this for notoriety? Is Francis doing this for the community? Is Francis doing this for America? Why do you think Francis is doing this? Why do you think she is doing this? Will her efforts benefit the black community? Will her efforts benefit minorities? Or do you think it will just benefit white people? Let's have the real discussion. Let's have the real discussion. Because when you talk about hate speech, a lot of times hate speech affects minorities. And in a lot of instances, it affects minorities or whatever. So she said, hey, we need to cut down on that and we need to stop promoting all the negative stuff. How many people are going to lose their social media platforms for promoting hate speech? Uh-oh. How many people right now in your head that are content creators that you know have been promoting hate speech for eons, how many people will lose their social media platform? Something to think about. Let's go.
That decides what you see on your Facebook newsfeed.
So, you have your phone. You might see only 100 pieces of content if you sit and scroll up for, 5 minutes. But Facebook has thousands of options it could show you.
The algorithm picks from those options based on the kind of content you've engaged with the most.
Joel, I appreciate the super chat. He says the sad part is our people will ignore this and still effing F with Facebook. You're right. Don't care. Don't care why it was shut down. Don't care what this interview is saying. This is someone on the inside giving you the scoop, letting you know why every time you pull up into a neighborhood and you don't look like such and such, X, Y, and Z. Because what they're going to do is they're going to not only polarize people with information, but they're going to broadcast this information. They're going to put this incident in front of every white American, in front of every Latino American, in front of every black American, in front of everybody, that there was an incident between this race and this race, and this is what happens. They're going to promote it. She's basically saying this is what's been happening.
Past.
And one of the consequences of how Facebook is picking out that content today is it is optimizing for content that gets engagement or reaction.
I agree with you.
But its own research is showing that content that is hateful, that is divisive, that is polarizing, it's easier to inspire people to anger than it is to other emotions.
Misinformation, angry content is enticing to people and keeps them on the platform.
Yes. Facebook has realized that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I realize that some of you guys are slow to scare, or it's slow to raise your eyebrows or whatever. But I'm telling you right now, if you sit down and you kind of you sit and you listen for understanding, this woman, or this discussion between this man and woman, regardless of the color, because for some reason we ordain only truth can come from this color, or only truth and facts can come from this color. It's not that person and what they're actually saying. Let's take the messenger out the way and listen to the message. Have you not thought about the things that come across your news feed? Whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, have you not thought about the things that are suggested that you watch, are suggested that you click on? Have you not thought about the platforms that you promote and the people that you promote on those platforms? What happens if there is a mandate that says, you know what, if you promote hate speech, if somebody reports you for hate speech and it's reviewed, then now you're canceled. You can't get on, as a black person, you can't get on here and talk about white people. As a white person, you can't get on here and talk about black people. You can't talk about Spanish people. You can't bash black women. You can't bash black men. What happens if they alter or turn down the volume on freedom of speech on social media? What happens if they turn the volume down and people start, wait a minute. How come you always bashing black women? How come you always bashing black men? I'm going to report this to YouTube and I'm going to see what they say about this. And now that this whole fandango has come out and people are being exposed, organizations are being exposed, now it's like, oh, well, now I got to change my content. Now I got to hold myself accountable and be responsible. What happens then? Does that promote better content? Does that force people to say, well, I got to man up now. Now I got to be a woman now. Or does entertainment, because it seems like entertainment it's always at the cost or the expense of someone's credibility, someone's character, someone's children, someone's job. It's always at the cost of someone else's, by someone saying this is entertainment, but it's always at the cost of someone else. What happens when social media now holds these people responsible and say that you have to find another creative way to promote entertainment? How many of you guys are going to be affected if this happens?
If they change the algorithm to be safer, people will spend less time on the site, they'll click on less ads, they'll make less money.
Haugen says Facebook understood the danger to the 2020 election, so it turned on safety systems to reduce misinformation.
Too dangerous.
But many of those changes, she says, were temporary.
And as soon as the election was over, they turned them back off, or they changed the settings back to what they were before to prioritize growth over safety. And that really feels like a betrayal of democracy to me.
Facebook said,
growth over safety.
New text message from Sexy
Growth
Summer.
over safety.
New text message from Sexy Summer.
Growth over safety. Whose safety? Whose safety? Whose safety? Your safety? Your kid's safety? Whose safety? I'm going to promote hatred in Chicago. I'm going to promote killings in California. I'm going to promote poverty in Louisiana. I'm going to promote racism in Texas. Whose safety? I don't know if we can afford to ignore this interview. I don't know if we can afford to not hear what we've heard. I don't know. Can you? Like, I see a lot of people talking about a lot of things, and God bless them, but my thought process is, if you're not realizing what is going on is that you are being targeted. You are being targeted to hate people. You are being targeted to promote hatred. You are being told that, well, if I sit on social media and I'm all the way negative, I'm all the way turned up, and I'm talking about everybody and their mama, I will get promoted. I will get applauded. I will get appreciated. But if I go against the grain and I promote safety, I promote accountability, then social media, I won't, for some reason, my video and my message won't hit the algorithm. What happens if they turn it down? What happens if this lady right now, see, the thing about it is, it's sometimes people are scared to be pioneers. They're scared to stand out front and say, you know what? Hey, look, I'll be the bad guy. I'll be the bad guy. If this is going to fix the problem, hey, I'll be the bad guy. I expose the situation. Now that she's exposed the situation, are you expecting a change on social media? Are you going to change? Or is it business as usual? I listen to a lot of content creators talk about the shutdown of social media. A lot of jokes was made, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I guess I'm more worried, and maybe it's me because I'm optimistic and you know, we all got big hearts and stuff like that. But I really feel like for a lot of people, if social media goes away, people in their everyday life wouldn't have anybody to talk to. It's easy to press, it's easy to say go live, and now I'm talking to this person over here that lives in Australia. This person lives in England. This person lives here. It's easy to be a personality. It's easy to, okay, y'all like me for being negative. Y'all like me for being positive. Y'all like me for being articulate. Y'all like, okay, cool. But in real life, people don't make friends like that. People don't make friends like that. People don't have support system like that. They don't get the like button. They don't get someone that says, "Oh, good morning." So people have really come to say social media is where I'm married to social media. Every day I'm putting in time and work on social media. What happens if social media goes away? Do you realize how many people are out of touch with face-to-face conversation? How many people, if you can't use your phone to have a conversation with somebody, ain't no conversation being. I seen someone on a date. On God, when Mary had a little lamb. They were on a date and they both was in the phone like this. A male and a female with their heads down in their phone. And I was like, maybe it's just me. But you could have stayed at home for that. Like you could have ordered Grubhub and got the food delivered to y'all separate locations if you weren't going to have a conversation. And I don't know about y'all fellas, but you know what I'm saying? A woman, if I'm on a date, we on a date. You know, you can have an emergency ring that goes to your children, or you know, for emergency situations, but it shouldn't be like, okay, every 10 minutes I'm on my phone or whatever. And then vice versa. Ladies, the man that you're with shouldn't be on his phone every 10 minutes. If that's the case, that's an issue. That's an issue. People have lost connectability face to face. It's like they have this, they don't have the interpersonal skills to actually have a conversation unless it's via text. I had somebody that had a conversation with me, and it sounded like they were using emojis when they were talking to me. Like, LOL. I'm like, what? Laugh out loud? I was like, just laugh. If you want to laugh, just laugh. It's okay. I'm just saying, it just, people have lost that connectability, and you wonder why, you know, it's people are always having this friction because they don't know how to speak to one another. They don't know how to talk and deal with one another. They don't know how to deal with problems, because the phone, if you got beef with somebody, oh, I'll just block you, right? I'll just unsubscribe. I'll just turn my phone up. I can control the situation. But in real life, well, you got to deal with somebody looking at you in your face. You got to deal with that energy standing in front of you. You got to deal with the volume of the conversation, the emotions in the conversation. You got to be held accountable and probably know where to run. That's some real adult shit. What happens if someone says, I'm going to put a chokehold on social media and allow you to now adult up, allow you to have the tough conversation? That's why you have so many people not comfortable when they go to interviews. Well, tell me a little bit about yourself. Oh, emoji. Strong arm, crown face, fire, 100. What the? Tell me about yourself. Have a conversation. Let me know who you are. What are your goals? What are your aspirations? What do you expect to accomplish in the next year, the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself at? Emoji, smiley face. Like, who are you? We're getting away from knowing ourselves. We're getting away from the personal feel of face-to-face conversation, having those intimate conversations in regards to saying, hey, you know, I really want to get to know you, or whatever case may be. How many times people call you? I'm sorry, how many times people text you and they don't call you? Like, I hate somebody to text me like, what you doing? And I tell them what I'm doing, and it's like no other conversations being had. Like, you don't say anything else. I'm just like, the fuck did you text? Why? What did you text me for then? What the hell? You know what I'm saying? What are you doing? Let's listen to some more of this. This is interesting. Conflict resolution.
Some of the safety systems remained,
We're going
but
back in
after
time.
the election,
Emojis
Facebook
are
was
the-
used by some to organize the January 6th insurrection.
Salute to the chat. Salute.
Prosecutors cite Facebook posts as evidence, photos of armed partisans, and text including, by bullet or ballot, restoration of the republic is coming. Extremists used many platforms,
That's
but
like Malcolm X,
Facebook
right?
is a recurring theme. After the attack, Facebook employees raged on an internal message board copied by Haugen. Haven't we had enough time to figure out how to manage discourse without enabling violence? We looked for positive comments and found this. I don't think our leadership team ignores data, ignores dissent, ignores truth. But that drew this reply. Welcome to Facebook. I see you just joined in November 2020. We have been watching wishy-washy actions of company leadership for years now. Colleagues cannot conscience working for a company that does not do more to mitigate the negative effects of its platform.
Colleagues without conscience. Colleagues without conscience. What happens when people that have organizations or are part of organizations decide that you are not important? Decide that I would rather promote your hatred than promote you working together. I would rather promote all of the stereotypes and the statistics that surround you and your community than to tell you that it is best that you work together. Not only that it is best that you work together, that there are people out there that are positive, that are mailmans, that are trash men, that are, you know, pool boys, that they're everyday citizens, and they really promote a positive attitude. They really want to see the community grow. They really have love and admiration for everyone, but we're not going to promote them. We're going to promote the people that promote hate. We're going to tell you that we're going to promote the people that get in front of the camera and tell you that all white people are bad. That tell you that all black people are bad. That tell you all Hispanic people are bad. We're going to get their message out to the masses. That's what we're going to do. What does that do? What does that do for your children that are in schools that are melting pots, communities that are in melting pots? That means they have a variety of people in that community. Now we start to segregate. We start to say, well, we only can deal with black people because according to social media, white people don't like no black people. According to Spanish people, we can't do anything. I appreciate that, Rodney. Thank you. I'm glad that y'all in here. Do me a favor, hit that like button. Let's get some people in here so we can have this conversation. And we can't have this conversation. We don't need to have no other types of conversations. It is very important that we are talking to the people that we love and the people that we support and respect, and we are holding them accountable. Because I'm gonna be honest with you, the accountability level, obviously, according to Miss Francis, the Facebook whistleblower, they're not holding people accountable. They're pushing this negative situation. Joe, I appreciate it. Zuckerberg pulls out the driveway, listening to "Do You Hate Me Now" by Bad Boy. With the tattoo of "I love Sean" on his left butt cheek. Man, it's crazy, man, and it's scary because you be hoping that, you know, there's somebody out there looking out for the little guy. You understand what I'm saying? There's somebody out there looking out for the little guy. It's like, hey man, you know, we on social media, you know, we're making a lot of people rich. We're giving, and it's like, yeah, we're gonna keep on promoting that negative stuff in y'all community. We're gonna keep on promoting that hatred. Oh, you don't like black women? Okay, all right, listen, I need to get this on the algorithm now. Like, everybody be scratching their head, especially if you're a content creator. How do I get my message out? Like if your message is, I mean, it don't really matter what your message is. It's like, how do I get it out? How do I get more people to hear what I have to say? And just knowing, especially listening to this interview, just knowing that there are organizations out there that are looking for negative messages to promote. They're looking for negative people to promote. And then it's like, well, you know, then you have those content creators that promote that negative message and be like, I have more subscribers, I have more views than you. Yeah, because of the type of content that you promote. You're helping to destroy communities. You're helping to destroy characters, destroy homes, destroy black women, destroy men, destroy children. You're helping to push the narrative. Let's listen.
Facebook essentially amplifies the worst of human nature.
It's one of these unfortunate consequences, right? No one at Facebook is malevolent, but the incentives are misaligned, right? Like, Facebook makes more money when you consume more content. People enjoy engaging with things that elicit emotional.
Stop. Facebook makes more money when you consume more content. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to hold all y'all ass responsible right now. What content are you consuming? What content are you consuming? What message have we sent out to the people upstairs, to the big man upstairs? I ain't talking about God, right? What message have we sent? This is the type of content that we like. We like the ratchet shit all the time. We like the hating and disrespect all the time. What message have we been sending? See, it's one thing to say, okay, they're promoting hatred for all. They're doing X, Y, and Z for all. But my thought process is, what is making you click on it? What is making you come back? What is saying, you know what, I should be working right now. I should be taking care of my kids right now. I should be paying attention to my man or my woman. I should be writing that book. I should be at the gym. I should be opening that business. I should be traveling. I should be doing something positive and productive that's going to be an asset to my life. But I would rather listen to this fuck shit.
Reaction, and the more anger that they get exposed to, the more they interact and more they consume.
That dynamic led to a complaint to Facebook by major political parties across Europe. This 2019 internal report obtained by Haugen says that the parties feel strongly that the change to the algorithm has forced them to skew negative in their communications on Facebook, leading them into more extreme policy positions. The European political parties were essentially saying to Facebook, the way you've written your algorithm is changing the way we lead our countries.
Yes. You are forcing us to take positions that we don't like, that we know are bad for society. We know if we don't take those positions, we won't win in the marketplace of social media.
Evidence of harm, she says, extends to Facebook.
Did you all notice that based on whatever platform you were on, what they were promoting in reference to the political parties, whether to be a Republican or to be a Democrat? And, you know, did you guys notice that? Did you notice that shift, that push, that outcry? I noticed that based on whoever was in charge of whatever political party, they pushed the narrative of who you should be aligned with in regards to political parties. If you are a black person, you should be aligned with them because X, Y, and Z. If you are this person, you should be aligned with them. I noticed that. And what's interesting is, just imagine this. Imagine if I'm somebody like Donald Trump and I have a lot of money. I have just assets out the yin yang, right? And I say, or Bill Gates. And I say, you know what? I want people to vote Republican. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get with Mark Zuckerberg and I'm going to say, I want you to push content that promotes black people being Republicans. Candace Owens, Tatum, what is his name? Something Tatum. I'm going to promote the Hodge twins. I'm going to promote these things so that way we can get more people, more black people to join the Republican Party or whatever case may be. I noticed that there was a lot of change politically, especially over the last few years in regards to how black people should be voting or whatever. I noticed that they don't do that for white people. Is it just me? I don't know. Like, if you are white, you can vote however you want to, but if you black, don't vote Democrat. To me, it's interesting because I have a melting pot of friends or whatever case may be, and we were sitting down. It was like, I had one friend or whatever. He's like, man, they don't tell me how to vote. White guy, they don't tell me how to vote, but they always try to tell y'all how to vote, and which made me pay attention even more. And I'm just like, there is a lot of hinting, suggesting, direction pointing to how I should vote as a black man or as a black person or in the black community. Oh, you guys have been Democrats for years. You might as well vote Republican. Why not? He who has the money controls the thought process, controls the agenda. What is the agenda? What is being promoted? How does this affect you? I think that a lot of people, for some reason, if we keep on listening to things that don't force us to think, that don't have, we only have surface level conversation and we never do a deep dive into the tougher layers, I think we're always going to be like, whatever you say, well, whatever you want us to do. And I think that that's the reason why these social media platforms feel like they can just dictate to you whatever the case may be, because you are the type of person, or we are the type of people that say whatever you say, whatever you want us to do.
Facebook's Instagram app. One of the Facebook internal studies that you found talks about how Instagram harms teenage girls.
Oh, yeah.
One study says 13.5% of teen girls say Instagram makes thoughts of suicide worse. 17% of teen girls say Instagram makes eating disorders worse.
And what's super tragic is Facebook's own research says, as these young women begin to consume this eating disorder content, they get more and more depressed, and it actually makes them use the app more. And so they end up in this feedback cycle where they hate their bodies more and more. Facebook's
promoting the perfect body, promoting the perfect IG model, promoting the fact that we want models and we don't want natural. We want savages, but we don't want women. We want bad bitches, but we don't want wives. Something to think about. You have to drive a Bugatti as a man. You have to live in a mansion. You have to have access to jets. You have to have $1 million worth of jewelry on. But we don't want everyday, average at best men. Good, hardworking men. Social media is a motherfucker. Social media is and gentlemen, when a woman is fed up, when a woman is fed up, when you get somebody who is smart, who understands, hey, listen, I need to present the facts. I don't need to do anything else. I just need to tell you what happened, and these are the facts or whatever, and you decide. That's what she did. She presented the facts, and she said, hey, you guys decide. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to decide. You have to decide if this information is important to you or not. It ain't just stopping right now. It ain't just stopping right now. She's getting ready to go and speak on a higher platform. Do you believe that social media should be regulated, or do you think that it should be allowed to be free and impartial? That the First Amendment should definitely not prohibit any type of hate speech, or not permit any type of lewd, crazy nonsense, or whatever case to be. That you should be able to run wild and free. How many people believe that? Or do you think that it's time for change? Do you think that adults should be adults? I think there is a time and a place to promote certain things. And if that's the type of platform you want, and you want to go pay for it, hey, I think that the Patreon, the what is the other thing? The OnlyFans, things like that. If you want to go somewhere like that and pay for that, cool. But I don't think that it should be accessible to our children, because there are a lot of impressionable, and not just children. There's a lot of impressionable adults, along with teenagers, that look at those things, and now they say, well, if this is how I need to act to get clout, to get subscribers, to get views, to be liked, to get some type of validation or affirmation or some type of celebrity status, then this is what I'm going to do. And what happens is people start promoting hatred for you. They start promoting hatred for you. And what happens when that hatred goes too far? There are some content creators that can't even go in certain cities because they'll get dealt with. There are certain people that went so far to include other people's children, their jobs, their parents, their character. Like, they've went so far to entertain us. And for some reason, we've done this great job at giving them a standing ovation, and then saying, oh, here's my credit card information. Oh, here's a couple donations. Are we as worse as Mark Zuckerberg? Are we the culprits as well? Because if I was put on trial and I was Mark, I would say, they liked it. They paid for it. They kept tuning in. Hell, they hit the like button. They shared it. They went over there to the positive channel, didn't hit the like button, or they didn't share it. They went to the negative channel where everybody was bashing everybody, shared it 3 times, tagged some friends, and then gave a donation. Who's the culprit? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tough Love. I'm Mario J. Until next time, I usually say adult up, but this time I want you to really look deeper and have a conversation. Peace. I'm gonna holler at y'all.